Hey guys, it's Zach from Zap Arts, and I wanted to discuss my favorite medium in film and television, animation. The first topic I wanted to talk about is, what is animation? What makes Pixar movies look like this? And what makes anime look like this? Animation is defined as the technique of photographing successive drawings or positions of puppets or models to create an illusion of movement when the movie is shown as a sequence. A simpler definition would just be animation equals illusion. Basically, animation works in frames. I'll get more into what that means in a little bit. First, we got to discuss that there are different types of animation. Now, I know there are more types of animation than the two I'll be discussing, especially with stop motion, but I wanted to give stop motion its own video for discussion anyways. The first type of animation and my personal favorite is 2D animation. This is also the most common. You ever wonder how anime and cartoons are made? No? Well, sucks, because I'm going to tell you. Now about those frames, 2D animation works in how you draw individual frames. 2D animation is the process of making hundreds of drawings and then having them animate by playing them in rapid succession. A perfect example of 2D animation is animating a bouncing ball. You just draw the next movement in each frame. You draw the ball falling, then bouncing. Then after you're done, the frames work like a video, and boom bang, you created motion. This is how you can create a cartoon or anime, but obviously on a much larger scale and more things going on in each frame, but I'll leave the in-depth detailed stuff like that for the professionals. The second type of animation is 3D animation. 3D animation is the type of animation we see all the time in movies and games. Pixar, Disney, DreamWorks, Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, and several other studios and game developers use 3D animation. Films, however, seem to only produce 3D animated films nowadays, but the discussion about that will be for later. The main difference between 3D and 2D animation is that, well, obviously 3D looks different. The reason why is you sculpt a figure and then move its body parts in each frame. In 3D, instead of drawing in each frame, you just move what you sculpted, so it's similar to like moving a puppet, like in stop motion. So those are the two types of animation. If you want a video that describes in like more depth and detail, then go check out this video by this guy. He does a great job explaining it all and whatnot, so go check that out. Now that we've discussed the types of animation, let's discuss how animation has evolved. 2D animation was originally just having the artist draw on different pieces of paper to make the subject move. This was also known as traditional animation. Now, everything is done on computers and it's a lot easier, but what started traditional animation? Some think that Walt Disney was the first to do it with Mickey Mouse, when in reality the first 2D animation was by E. Mile Cole. Created entirely in black and white, the cartoon begins with E. Mile drawing a simple stick man in a live action. The animation begins when the stick man drops from a bar. The cartoon has several brief scenes in it, including a man stuck in a theater behind a lady with a big hat, and the stick man jumping out of the small box. The cartoon ends with the stick man riding off on the screen on a horse. The cartoon is about 75 seconds long and it took about 700 different drawings to create. This historic animation was released in 1908, which predates Steamboat Willie, the first Mickey Mouse animation where he's on a boat, by about 20 years. Several companies in the 1930s through 1970s, referred to as the golden age of animation, were renowned for their high-quality, entertaining cartoons, including Disney, who created the Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, Goofy, and countless feature-length films, Warner Brothers, who made Looney Tunes that starred Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, and Porky Pig. These companies helped spread and popularize the use of 2D animation. In the 1960s, 2D animation strayed away from the theaters and moved onto the TV screen. Several cartoons were created during the time period, including the Jetsons and the Flintstones, the first successful animated program on primetime television. Cartoons were also a lot longer, going from 5 to 10 minutes to a cartoon to 20 to 25 minutes. In order to keep costs down, several shortcuts were made. This often involved only moving one part of the screen per frame, usually a talking mouth, and nothing else. Several Hanna-Barbera cartoons were notorious for looping the same background over and over again, usually when characters were walking or driving. Although these animations weren't as smooth and complex as theatrical animations, they were still good enough to be convincing and entertaining to thousands of people across the world. In the 80s and 90s, cartoons started to shift towards having an older demographic. The first major example of this was The Simpsons, which debuted in 1989. This cartoon is notable for being one of the first cartoons that deal with adult situations in real life. Conflicts including alcohol.
Lachrymose is to dyspeptic as ebullient is to effervescent. All right, Harvard, here I come.
Psst, Barney, my dad's asleep. Want a beer?
I don't know, the SATs are tomorrow.
I've got 2 words for you. Mellow out, man.
All right, just one. If it'll get you off my back.
Sex and violence.
Sexy marriage land. Wow, I've got the sun urge to give her a $5 bill.
Despite some concerns from parents, the show became an immediate success. The show received high ratings, made tons of money in merchandise, and proved that cartoons didn't have to be just for kids. Now, personally, I think you can enjoy any show despite what age you are, depending on how good that show is. But, whatever. This led to the creation of several other animated cartoons intended for teens or adults, including South Park, Futurama, and Family Guy. Also, thanks to channels like Cartoon Network, Disney, and Nickelodeon at the time, we got tons of more people to get introduced into animation. We got stuff like Powerpuff Girls, Dexter's Laboratory, Rugrats, Kim Possible, SpongeBob. Oh god, SpongeBob. During the 90s and early 2000s. You can see such great cartoons like Batman the Animated Series, Teen Titans, Justice League. Man, these are all DC. Probably because Warner Brothers is only good at animation. Now, I don't know what happened, but in the late 2000s, cartoons weren't doing so well. Cartoon Network canceled all their classic shows and just started airing garbage. Nickelodeon only showed SpongeBob, and I know you could watch classic cartoons like the Jetsons or Flintstones on Boomerang, but no network was giving well-produced cartoons anymore. Until we hit 2010.
Adventure time! Come on, grab your friends. We'll go to very distant lands. We'll take the dog and then the human. The fun will never end. It's Adventure Time.
Adventure Time came out and people loved it, and it was a start of tons of other cartoons to make leeway. We got Young Justice, Regular Show, and even though Nick fucked up its marketing, we got Legend of Korra. We also got Gravity Falls, Steven Universe, and several others that were great shows to introduce people to animation. Today, cartoons in the West are doing really well. It's booming right now. And even though Nickelodeon's a shadow of its former self, even they seem to be catching on.
It's about damn time!
Now that's cartoons, but let's talk about anime. Now anime as a whole, I think, it has relatively just followed the same path as cartoons. Cartoons and anime just happen to be a medium inside a medium, going from hand-drawn animations to computers. The first anime aired in 1961, and the anime was Astro Boy. Astro Boy is a science fiction series set in a futuristic world where robots coexist with humans. Yeah, we all know what Astro Boy is. From Astro Boy, anime grew classics like Gatchaman and Kimba the White Line in the 70s, Dragon Ball Z, and tons of Mobile Suit Gundam animes in the 80s, Cowboy Bebop, Evangelion, and Sailor Moon in the 90s, and Code Geass, Gurren Lagann, and Full Metal Alchemist in the 2000s. So even though anime is kind of mainstream nowadays, it definitely wasn't back in the 70s and 80s and kind of 90s. It was this niche thing, and it was hard to even get copies of tapes to even watch the damn anime. It's only really thanks to the internet and stuff like Toonami that word spread anime to the world. Other than that, I guess the style of anime has changed. It's gone to more of a roundish look, kind of, I guess you can consider it more realistic. Just look at this picture, it's a pretty good example of what I'm talking about. Anime has become more than just animated works coming from Japan. It has also inspired others to make anime-inspired content like Avatar or Ruby from Rooster Teeth. But that's 3D animated. What a great transition! 3D animation has been in shows on television and have been in games, but I'm mostly going to discuss films because that's where it's doing really well right now. Back in 1995, we got our first 3D animated film, Toy Story, and who hasn't seen Toy Story? It's a classic, and it did phenomenal. It was actually really smart for Pixar to do a 3D animated movie about toys because the technology wasn't too strong to convey humans that well yet. I mean, Jesus, look at this. But with plastic looking toys, it did great. Ever since then, Pixar led the 3D animation in the film industry. Of course, other studios like DreamWorks and Disney have proven themselves as well to make great 3D animated movies like How to Train Your Dragon or Tangled. However, I am concerned on where Pixar has their intentions with all these sequel films coming out soon. Oh yeah, their intention is to make money. That's duh. I just hope it doesn't end up like Cars 2. I mean, I am actually looking forward to an incredible sequel because I think out of all of them, that one deserves one the most. But seriously, Toy Story 4? Come on, Pixar. So that's the state in the film industry for the most part. But I also wanted to discuss 3D being in 2D animated shows. I haven't seen this with cartoons, but I've definitely seen this done with anime. Oh my god, can they stop putting 3D render models in 2D worlds? It just doesn't work. Okay, that's actually not true. There have been instances of anime being able to implement both art styles to make a cool mesh, but why is it most of the time when I see 3D in 2D, it looks awful? I think anime is getting better at it, but I hope they do what Disney did with their short film Paperman. Paperman combined both 2D animation and 3D animation. They didn't just put them together, they made them together. I don't know all the technicals, but basically they made 3D models and were able to put 2D animation to overlay on top of it. And it looks great. It's really cool. Like, it's a cool way to combine both art forms. Alright, I think that's a good transition to get kind of real for a moment here. We haven't gotten a 2D animated film since Disney's Princess and the Frog and 2011's Winnie the Pooh. 2D animation has slowly died in the film industry, and that really sucks. There is, however, a group of longtime Disney animators who are aiming to prevent that from happening. Okay, I hope I don't butcher this, but the title of what they're trying to make is called Hula Baloo. It's described as a 2D hand-drawn animated steampunk film that hopes to help preserve the dying art of 2D animation. It's helmed by James Lopez, veteran Disney animator whose 25 years career has included credits such as The Lion King, The Princess and the Frog, Pocahontas, Hercules, and recent short, Paperman. Among many others, the story of Hula Baloo follows Veronica Daring, a young scientist who finds her inventor father is missing. She's quickly joined by a fellow female inventor, Jules, to hunt for her missing father and stop some antagonists along the way. This is a project that's asking people to help fund it. As the time I am recording this video, it's reached about $470,000. I really hope this project works out for James Lopez because I don't want 2D animation in films to just die out. Look, link in the description if you want to help fund this project, by the way. Truthfully, I'm not sure where animation will evolve from here. I think 2D animated films might have to be crowdfunded for a while before being recognized that people want more of it, or at least I do. See, I'm worried because even world-renowned artist Hayao Miyazaki of the successful Studio Ghibli films thinks that 2D will eventually just die off, and not because of audiences not watching them, but because it's cheaper for animators to get into animating 3D than it is 2D. Who knows, it might just die out in film and television, unfortunately. So even though 2D is booming on television right now, who's to say it won't be in a couple years, and then slowly have it be replaced with just 3D animation? It makes sense because companies want money and 3D is easier to make. Same with anime. I can't say for sure. I think there will always be craving for 2D animation, but all I can ask you as a viewer is to support 2D animation films or TV shows when you can. In the entertainment industry, your wallet is how you vote. So just remember when you pass by the Blu-rays or merchandise of your favorite 2D animated show. Let's not have 2D animation die, shall we? Like, that'd be upsetting. It's the thing I want to get into. And it sucks because I sit back every now and then, I'm like, maybe I should get into 3D instead of 2D because, well, it will be more of a standard. And then I'm like, but I like 2D. That's what I want to do. That's why I got animate. Artists need all the support that they can get. Speaking of support, if you like this video and you want me to be able to make more like it, then go ahead and support my Patreon. I'm working 2 jobs at the moment and almost all my spare time goes into making videos for you guys. And if you can't give me money, then that is okay. Simply sharing the video, liking it, and subscribing to keep up when I upload the next video is good enough. I've been Zach from Zap Arts, and I hope you have a wonderful day.